In today's episode, I can't use this computer, I'm allergic to it or something. It all broke after I restarted. Kevin in a server room. Kevin in a server room, Part 2, Blackout. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. I can't use this computer, I'm allergic to it or something. So we get a help desk support ticket. VP of the TPS division, I can't use my new computer, I'm allergic to it or something. Yuha. Cue skeptical face. I go and look and see what she's been issued. It's her second day with her new computer. It's a take-home laptop that's about 6 months old. It's a Dell Inspiron with a 15.x-inch display. I go down to her desk to try to get the real story, and this poor girl looks like she just tried to snort lines of pet dander off crazy cat lady's sofa. Her makeup makes me feel sorry for her, wastebasket filled to the brim with tissues, but like a trooper we was trying and failing to power through her day. I flip the computer upside down and give it a good diagnostic whack, and orange/blonde hairs start coming out. Well, VP of TPS, I'm guessing you're allergic to cats? Yeah. You are in fact allergic to the previous user's critters, and there's a whole mess of fuzz contaminating this thing. I'll pull something else off the spares pile. Looks like no one bothered cleaning this up when it went back into circulation, I'm sorry. I got it directly from the someone else, they said it was working just fine. Facepalm. Why don't you take a breather and get cleaned up, and I'll bring you up something that I know was cleaned properly. Yes. I got to spend my morning decatting a laptop. You never stop seeing new things. Today it was someone allergic to her laptop. It all broke after I restarted. For a bit of context, we have some guys and gals who work in the field and have company-issued laptops and scanners. Part of my duties is supporting them any way I can. Most of these people are close by in the next city or over, but some are farther, so it's usually remote for them. One day, Joey calls. Joey, hey, I'm having a bit of an issue. Me, what's going on? Joey, well, the scanner won't work with my laptop anymore. Me, how did that happen? I ask for context and also to keep the conversation going while I remote in using this program that doesn't require user input on their end. Joey, I was having some issues and I restarted my computer, and after restating, the scanner no longer works. I press the button and it won't bring up the program anymore. Me, oh, okay, I understand. Joey, is your computer on and connected to the internet by chance? Joey, yeah? Let me double check. Yep, it's open and it's connected to my home's Wi-Fi. Me, weird, I'm not picking it up on here. Can you open Quick Assist for me and we'll go that way? Joey, how do I do that? I proceed to guide him to opening it and sharing the code. Cut to when I log in and it feels different. That weather junk Microsoft forced into Windows 10 and 11 has somehow re-enabled itself, even though I always disable it. The usual icons are missing from the desktop. The start menu is back to the default view and has a bunch of the old bloatware apps on it. I check the taskbar and the remote software isn't running. I specifically set all laptops going out to our users to have this always enabled, and even checked the box to make sure they couldn't accidentally turn it off by closing the window, so this is strange. Then I see on the desktop an icon I usually wouldn't see. I open it and it opens an Edge, and is a bunch of the third-party programs I'd usually install, and it says something about programs removed after a restore. Me, Joey? How did you restart this laptop? Joey, I typed reset into the search bar and it went through some stuff. Under my breath and internally screaming, then get my composure and be as professional as I can be. Me, oh, okay, I understand. Well, because of that, there's not much I can do remotely. It looks like the option you clicked on reset the laptop, as if it came out of the factory. Joey, oh, I see. Yeah. I tell him that I'll have to talk to his supervisor, and then we'll likely need to send out a new laptop to him because I can't do anything remotely. The remote software we use would let me reinstall stuff very easily, but not in this state. For some reason, the user accounts these users have are admins, I guess some legacy software or procedure that requires it. I had been asking my superiors to change this and brought it up again, using this situation more recently, but nothing has changed and I don't think anything will. Partly because these are thin clients for the most part too. All stuff is sent remotely and not kept locally, so I don't think they care. But of course I do because I'm the one who has to clean up these messes. Kevin in a server room. Some backstory. I am an IT professional and took a job at a small manufacturer in the Midwest with a very small IT staff, about 6 people to service a manufacturing firm of 300 with over 150 computers under our control, and everything was managed in-house. Relevant to this story is an application to monitor our network and servers. It was a lightweight application that ran on my office computer and monitored all critical servers/networking equipment, database, website, phone system, PBX, phone/fax line VoIP converter, domain servers, backup servers, networking switches/routers/firewall, VPN. You get the idea. If it was on the network and important, my application made sure it was online. If for any reason it went down, all IT staff were immediately notified via text and Slack message, and a monitor in the IT office dedicated to this application showed which systems were down, and guessed on what single point of failure could be the cause if multiple systems were down. When did I mention the air raid siren? In the event that something went down, it would override my computer's volume control and play an emergency air raid siren to get the attention of anyone in the office. Cast, me and Kevin, the IT team lead. It was a cloudy afternoon sometime in mid-January about 4:30. I was staring out the window of my office considering heading out early for the day and thinking about what I was going to have for dinner when I got home. Suddenly, I am drawn back to reality by an air raid siren blaring in the office. Seconds later, I receive Slack and text notifications indicating that most of our equipment is down. Surely this must be a mistake? A bug that was never caught when developing this program? Right? I look at the included list of the disconnected systems and quickly conclude that, if accurate, this is a huge issue. I open a terminal and attempt to ping some of the down equipment with the few IP addresses that I can remember in the moment. Sure enough, none of them are responding. I look over to the application and silence the alarm and see that it is unable to determine which device could be causing this failure. From experience, I know that this means that there are multiple devices down. I quickly glance at the list of devices and conclude that they are all across into our second building. I breathe a slight sigh of relief, thinking there is a chance that one of our fiber optic transceivers had just died, or a wire has been cut. I rush across the parking lot, past numerous people trying to interrupt and tell me that they can't seem to access the database, or that their calls cut out, or internet is down and so on, ignoring them all since I already know that the issue lies ahead into the server room. I enter bracing for what lies ahead. As I enter the room, the first thing I notice is that it is eerily quiet. For anyone unfamiliar with servers and networking equipment, they are loud, numerous fans spinning as if trying to take off like a helicopter, but not today, not now. Something is seriously wrong, I think to myself as I round the corner. Next thing I see is Kevin standing in front of me. I briefly think to myself, wow, he got here fast, before ever noticing the Wile E. Coyote after running off a cliff-like look on his face, and the vacuum cleaner in his hand. No. Surely he isn't that dumb, right? For context, our servers ran on multiple dedicated 20-amp circuits, each using APROX. 15 to 17 amps, each with a battery backup, UPS, for if we lost power. It takes me a second to notice him unplugging the vacuum. It's plugged into one of our spray-painted red power strips, indicating that nothing should be plugged in or unplugged from the strip. Instantly, I know exactly what happened. The 10-12 amp vacuum paired with at least 15 amps of servers has tripped an overcurrent protection on our UPS. I share a frustrated look, and Kevin sulks out of the room and starts answering questions from the crowds gathering outside. I quickly cast a prayer to any deity willing to listen, and start diagnosing which systems may be fried. I quickly begin bringing systems back online, first network, then internet, then phone, intentionally leaving our servers and DBs for last, as I'm sure some of them will not start back up. When I get to the DB server, I am not at all surprised that 14 of our 60 DBs are corrupted from the loss of power with active clients. At this point, I begin reassessing my life choices, wondering why I didn't leave when I had the chance. And begin the hours-long process of recovering from a backup and trying to merge that with any non-corrupted records from the database that would not boot up. By midnight I had them all back up, and everything was humming along as if nothing had happened. I got some nice OT and Kevin learned a valuable lesson on following procedures, right? No, of course he didn't, but that's another story for another time. Kevin in a server room, Part 2, Blackout. After posting Part 1, I was met with numerous requests for more about Kevin, so here we go. But first, please read the backstory of the last post, as it is assumed you have done so. This story takes place about 5 to 6 months after the last one. Cast, me and Kevin, the IT team lead. What do you do when the battery in a UPS dies and you want to replace it? Most people would schedule downtime for any devices plugged into it, buy a new battery/UPS and swap them. Well, Kevin is not most people, and this story would not exist if that was all he did. As far as servers go, there are some that can go down without people really noticing, and on the other end of the spectrum there are those that can't go down at all but for a scheduled reboot, sometimes with an uptime of years. The server for this story is the same as the one from last, our database server, hosting about 60 DBs at the time, and falls somewhere in the middle, being critical for company operations, everything from purchase orders, punch-in punch-out times, employee HR records. We're on this server. If it was in a company database, it was on this server. Depending on the type of system you are intending to take down, there were different times you were allowed to do so. Because this server was used almost 24/7, we were only allowed to take it offline on the weekends or late after hours, neither of which Kevin was inclined to do since he was salaried. The obvious solution to this dilemma was to find a way to unplug the server without shutting it down. Seems impossible, right? Well, not to a trained and seasoned Kevin it's not. The Dunning-Kruger effect in short says that people with limited knowledge about a topic believe themselves to be far more knowledgeable than they are. This was most assuredly the case for this Kevin. You see, it's nice you can plug a server into any 120V outlet, this must mean that they are all the same, right? Wrong, very very wrong. The US electrical system, in simple terms, has a bunch of 240V transformers that create a neutral and two positives, each 120V off the neutral. Think of it like a line with each end being 120V, and the midpoint being the neutral. When each of the 120V phases are in phase, the other is out of phase, so combining them in the same wire creates a 240V potential, not a 120V. I'm a software engineer, any electricians have a better analogy? Anyway, Kevin's solution to not shutting down the server was to cut the insulation on the server's power cable, and solder on another plug, then plug that one in before unplugging from the UPS. This would have worked if the two 120V plugs he used were on the same phase. Well, they were not, and according to the security camera footage the server was less than happy. But I'm getting ahead of myself. There I was, at my desk, finishing up some work to an application, to allow PLCs to talk to our DB, if anyone is interested, when same as last time, flashing computer screens, text messages, Slack messages, and of course the air raid siren all beckon my attention informing me of the long and stressful evening ahead. I am pleased to see that the application is informing that only one system is down, but brace myself as this is our database server. I try to open a connection to the DB, and sure enough my connection is timing out. Over to the server room I go, yet again. Before I even enter the room, I can hear UPS's beeping informing that the power is out, and they are running on battery. In short, this is going to get worse before it gets better if not resolved quickly. I pull out my phone to dial our electrician, and before I can place the call I enter the server room. I see Kevin with his back toward me, our mobile work cart which has been set up with a soldering iron, a plug with black scorch marks all around it, and a server still smoking from whatever crap just went down in here. As I approach in shock, wondering how soldering shut down and battery backed up server, I am stunned to see that this perfectly functional power cord has been modified into an abomination that I am sure OSHA would have some choice words for. In a fit of rage, which in hindsight was totally unprofessional, I shout at Kevin to get out, and I will take care of it before having the mental clarity to get HR/safety involved. You see, as a manufacturing firm we have robots, mills, drills, forklifts, presses and more, all of which will gladly destroy any part of you that get between them and where they want to go. Usually our safety personnel were supervising employees on camera to ensure that no one was breaking procedure in a way that could get them or someone else hurt or worse. Today, they were going to join me in the server room. I make a couple of calls, block off the server room with red danger tape akin to that used by police to mark a crime scene, and pull up the camera footage on my phone, and just wait, not wanting to touch anything until directed to do so and informed safe by our safety and electrical teams. It takes them about 5 minutes to arrive, and I hardly needed to say a word as the electrician pieced together what must have been going on and described the danger of such a procedure to safety and HR. Then I queued up the camera footage and showed about the last 30 seconds of the clip before the server was plugged in. Frankly, I'm shocked that he didn't short the 2 leads in the server's power cable during the process of soldering them. Needless to say, no one was happy. A company of 300 employees all contacting their managers about system downtime, managers contacting the GM/owner about missed deadlines if things don't get back up and running, GM/manager/owner yelling at me/Kevin about what happened, HR/electrician/safety yelling at Kevin about how dumb of a move this was. It went on for about 10 minutes before everyone had said their piece. Safety had to do an investigation that took a couple of hours before we were even able to get our server to try to triage it, and to no one's surprise, the PSU was dead, cooked beyond hope. At that point, I just decided to go and get the backup server and port over a DB backup and go from there. Moral of the story: hire an intern to supervise your Kevin, even if he is the team lead. Outcome: Kevin, finally, lost his server room permissions and permissions to do any physical work on any system without prior written approval from someone else on the team, and we seldom gave that permission, insisting it was easier to do the work ourselves than to clean up the mess left behind by Kevin.